have a look at the screen right now, okay? Got two pictures here. Can you have a look at these two pictures, these two cartoons that you can see? Can you figure out how either of these pictures relate to inference, or what we can perhaps infer from either of those images? So the one on the left with the mum asking, where did my coffee go? The one on the right with the tiger saying, better hurry, your mum's yelling something. Can we infer anything from these two pictures? Bilkis is saying we can see clues as to what is happening. We can. What has happened? I'm going to reshare because it seems like some people can't see the pictures. I'm going to do it one more time. Let's have a look. Okay, yes, good. You're all saying in the one on the left, the boy has drunk the coffee. Excellent. You can see he's very hyper, exactly, because you can see he's going, he is, he's moving around like crazy because he's got so much energy from the coffee. Exactly. Excellent. Now, what about the one on the right? What is perhaps mom yelling? What might mom be yelling? Let's see. The boy's in trouble. Yes, my video is off on purpose. I'm leaving it off. Excellent. She's yelling for him. Everybody is saying she is yelling for him to calm down. But why? Why do you think that the mum is yelling? Good. He's in trouble. People are saying he's in trouble, saying stop and get down. Mum might be telling him off. I'm just looking at all your messages here. He's in trouble. You're right. It is dangerous. Excellent. Because, yeah, it looks like he's about to just backflip off of that little step ladder into a paddling pool and probably break his neck. So, excellent. These are both examples of inference. You're looking at the clues that you have. First of all, the boy kind of shivering around like that. And secondly, what little Calvin, this is from Calvin and Hobbes, if anyone's ever heard of that cartoon, what Calvin is planning to do and why his mom might be yelling. This is inference. So really well done, everyone. Thank you for all of your suggestions on the chat. So let's talk about what inference is. It's a very, very important skill in comprehension. So this involves reading between the lines. And I'm sure you've probably heard that phrase used when we talk about inference, to consider what is the writer not saying directly. Now, we're going to be thinking about three sort of types of inference today, just things that you can practice in your day-to-day life to help you improve your overall skills. Deduction is our first type of inference, then speculation, and then examination. Now, the reason probably people can't see messages is I think everyone is sending them directly to me. If you would like to send your messages to everyone, you can change it on the chat to send it to everyone. It might be better because then we can all see what we're writing, but that is fine. I'm happy if you send them directly to me. Okay, so then again, you've got another picture in the corner that will help you infer what why Calvin looks like that. Okay. All right, let's move on. So we're going to first of all look at our first form of inference, which is deduction. So to deduce something means to work something out based on very clear, solid evidence. So you think about someone like Sherlock Holmes, right? He's deducing things based on he's always looking for clues and evidence. So when you're answering a question where you're deducing something, if you would like to make notes on this, you can. I will also send all of these notes to you as well. So make notes wherever you would like to. It's important to use words like must to show that your conclusions are clear. So, for example, let's say you saw a boy with a scraped knee. You would say the boy must have fallen over. The boy must be sad. The boy must be in pain. You're using the word must to show, I know this for sure. That is what deducing is. It means to know something for sure. So what I'm going to do to start is we're going to read a little passage from, I'm sure you'll all recognize this passage. I imagine you'll all recognize it. This comes from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I'm sure that people have probably read this. Yes, some thumbs up there. So I'm going to read the passage through, and what I want you to figure out is what you can deduce about Charlie's life. So these are things that you've got to be really certain about. So as I read, put in the chat for me, and I'll try and read some of them out afterwards. Things that you can deduce about Charlie's life. So you write down the thing that you can figure out and the evidence, okay? And the piece of evidence that you have that proves your point. So let me start off by reading the passage through and then think, what can you deduce about Charlie's life? All right, here we go. The whole of this family, the 6 grown-ups, count them, and little Charlie Bucket lived together in a small wooden house on the edge of a great town. The house wasn't nearly large enough for so many people, and life was extremely uncomfortable for them all. There were only 2 rooms in the place altogether, and there was only 1 bed. The bed was given to the 4 old grandparents because they were so old and tired. They were so tired, they never got out of it. Grandpa Joe and Grandma Josephine on this side, Grandpa George and Grandma Georgina on this side. Mr. and Mrs. Bucket and little Charlie Bucket slept in the other room upon mattresses on the floor. In the summertime, this wasn't too bad, but in the winter, freezing cold drafts blew across the floor all night long, and it was awful. There wasn't any question of them being able to buy a better house or even 1 more bed to sleep in. They were far too poor for that. Okay, wow, the chat is absolutely full of messages. Okay, so let me read some of these out. What can we deduce about Charlie's life? Let's see what you guys have said. I'm going to scroll up. Gosh, there's so many messages. I can't keep track. Let me find the start of them. Here we go. Okay. So first of all, Charlie lives in a small house. Yes, that is very clearly stated. He lives in a small house. As Adam has said, the house was small. There's only 1 bed. Philassi, yes, it is from Charlie in the chocolate factory. You're saying they're poor. You're right. Everyone that said they're poor, you're all correct. They are not happy. Now, Shuvik, you said they are not happy there. That's actually more of kind of like, that's more of a speculation. We'll talk more about that later. But the deduction, we actually don't know that they're not happy. We're just assuming that they're not happy. But the things that we can deduce that are very clear is that they are poor. We'll come back to that thought in a second. So people have said their life was uncomfortable. Yes, not many luxuries, very small. They couldn't afford anything larger than their house. Their house is cramped. Let's have a look. They couldn't afford the necessities. Yes, it's very cold in the house. Life's extremely uncomfortable for them. Now, I can see that some of you are actually starting to go that 1 level further. I got a comment from Banage here. You said, Charlie must have been hungry and squished. He must have felt hopeless. We don't actually know that yet. He may have felt hopeless, but we don't know what his relationships with his family were like yet. You're more making an inference there rather than a deduction. So interesting, you're taking it to the next level there. They're not rich, they don't have much money. Yes, you're all saying the exact right things. Well done. So let's have a look at some of the other options that I wrote down here. These are some of the things that I've put down. I think a lot of you have said these. So I said the Bucket family are poor. They do not have a lot of space. The house is not well insulated. I think a couple of you said that. The family do not have much money, and the grandparents are in poor health. I don't know if anybody said about the poor health. I'm sure somebody did. But the reason these are deductions is because these are very clear facts. They're supported by the specific words and phrases in the text. So these are the ones I've highlighted here. So the fact that it says life was extremely uncomfortable, that shows that their life was pretty difficult. Only 2 rooms shows that they're too poor to afford a larger house. The grandparents are so old and tired, that tells us that they're in poor health. There are freezing cold drafts, which shows that they've got a poorly insulated house. And then it very clearly just states they are far too poor for anything better. So what you've all pretty nicely done is to identify that their financial status. Yeah, they do not have really anything at all. That is very clearly stated in the text. Now let's move on Is everybody happy? Are we all happy so far? Give me sort of a thumbs up, smiles, or everyone's good? Okay. Excellent. Oh, my goodness. There are such a lot of you. I can't see everyone's faces, but I hope everyone's all right. Okay. Now let's talk about speculation. So speculation is a little bit different to deduction. When we deduce, we want a specific cold, hard fact, right? There's no two ways about it. It's very clearly stated. Speculation is more broad. It doesn't necessarily require a piece of concrete evidence. This is where I'm thinking, I can't remember the names now specifically, but a couple of you started to make speculations about their life earlier today. You said that maybe they're not happy, or maybe what was the other point someone said? That someone then feels hopeless or something like that. These are more sort of speculations. Based on what we know, we can kind of assume or guess that they might be feeling that. So yeah, with speculation, you can make broader assumptions. There's usually an absence of specific evidence. So you can use words like might, they might be feeling this, or they might be feeling that. There's some evidence, but not loads and loads of it. So I've got the exact same passage again here. I'm not going to reread it, but see if you can speculate now about Charlie's life. What could you speculate? What could you maybe guess about him based on his life? So have a think. What speculations could we make? Excellent. They've got a very hard life. Yes, they're unhappy, upset and hopeless. He might want to have a better life. That's definitely true. He might be thin. That's true, because it doesn't sound like they have a lot of food. Charlie might not be able to afford things. Yes, he didn't like his house. He might be upset. Good, unhappy, miserable. They don't wear nice clothes. Yes, because what you're doing here is you're kind of expanding. Okay, I know what poverty means. What else could I kind of like figure out? Samara, I think they might have gotten a bad job. Yes, exactly. Now you're speculating beyond the text. Raisha, that Charlie didn't choose to live in this house. I mean, yes, you can definitely speculate that. Oh, make sure that you all mute yourselves, guys, please, so we don't distract each other. I'm just going to mute people if they come off of mute. Let's see what else we have. Charlie might not have a good education. Yes. Charlie might have to work. That is true. Yeah. They couldn't find a better place. They might have been made redundant. Yes, Nidal saying they might have been made redundant. They can't have birthday gifts, struggling to pay bills. Excellent. So now you're starting to go beyond the passage a little bit more and think about using your general knowledge about poverty. Set in the olden days, possibly, where children work. Maybe. Charlie might not have friends. Charlie might be bullied. Possibly, yes. These are more speculations, exactly. Okay, brilliant. Excellent. You're all saying the right sort of things. I'll show you the points I made. I think a lot of these were said. So I put something like this. Number one, the family might have fallen on hard times, which I think a lot of you were saying. They might not really have a good job. I said the grandparents might be lazy. I mean, I don't know. That was just my own speculation. Like, come on, get up. But of course, who knows? That's just speculating. Number three, the family might be quite close to each other. They will live in the same house. Maybe they're close. Maybe they depend on each other. I thought that maybe the parents were quite generous as they had to give up the bed for their grandparents or for their parents. And then I also put number six, Charlie might be unhappy about being the only child. But a lot of you pointed that out as well, just unhappy about his life. So what you're doing here. Oh, okay. Hang on a second. What you're doing here is you are speculating about what their life might be like beyond the passage. So other things that we know or that we can kind of guess or assume based on what we know about poverty. Okay, so the final type of sort of skill for inference, we've done deduction, now we've done speculating, is examination. And this is This is something where we get more specific. We get more specific into the text. So, what is examination? This is the most thorough form of inference. This is when we are examining the text, we're picking out our specific clues that can be used to support our idea, and we're using PEE, point, evidence, explanation, to structure our answers. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to read us another section of the text, but this is a different passage from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And you've got a question where you need to examine the text. So I'm going to read this passage through, and rather than speculating, rather than deducing specific things, we're going to be examining specific words, picking out specific words, specific phrases that show you something of Charlie's character. Okay. I'm going to read this through, and what I want you to do is just pick out, what do you learn about Charlie's character, and what does the text tell us? Which specific words and phrases could you use to show that? Okay, here we go. Only once a year, on his birthday, did Charlie Bucket ever get to taste a bit of chocolate. The whole family saved up their money for that special occasion, and when the great day arrived, Charlie was always presented with one small chocolate bar to eat all by himself. And each time he received it, on those marvelous birthday mornings, he would place it carefully in a small wooden box that he owned, and treasure it as though it were a bar of solid gold. And for the next few days, he would allow himself only to look at it, but never to touch it. Then at last, when he could stand it no longer, he would peel back a tiny bit of the paper wrapping at one corner to expose a tiny bit of chocolate, and then he would take a tiny nibble, just enough to allow the lovely sweet taste to spread out slowly over his tongue. The next day, he would take another tiny nibble, and so on and so on. And in this way, Charlie would make his sixpenny bar of birthday chocolate last him for more than a month. Okay, this is quite a detailed description that we have of Charlie's character, the way that he deals with quite a specific event in his life. So what I want you to do is pick out a little phrase from the text and explain, what can you infer about Charlie's character from that particular quote? So we've already got lots of things coming in the chat. Let's have a look. We go back up. Now remember, try and get the quotation as well. Right, let's see. So we've got, Charlie is patient because he has to wait a year to eat chocolate. That is true. You're right. You're inferring that he must be patient because there's only one specific time in the year when he gets to do it. Let's see. He treasures his luxuries as he only looks at the chocolate. Yeah, nicely put, Aria. He desperately wanted to eat the chocolate, but he forced himself not to. So what does that tell you about him, Laura? What does that tell you about his character? Banage, you said he has a lot of willpower. Yes, definitely. He's grateful for the little things that he does have. Excellent. He preserves the chocolate because he just took a nibble. Yes, let's make sure that we're quoting from the text, guys. You're making some really good points. Try and put the quotations in your quote marks so you can show this is the part in the text that I'm referring to. Let's see, Aaron, it can be noticed that Charlie saves up their money for that special occasion, which suggests that he is privileged. Does that mean as in his family, or they saved up their money for him? You're totally right. Clearly, they see this moment as special, so they try and save up the money for him. Let's have a look what else we've got. I think that Charlie loves the chocolate because he treasured it like a bar of gold. Yes, definitely. And good quotation there. Now, I'm just going to scroll down. I want to make sure that you're quoting specifically from the text. I can infer that he's appreciative, as it says that he places the bar carefully in a small wooden box. Good. Good use of the quotation there. He's appreciating it. He's treasuring it. He's putting it somewhere special. What? Charlie's very cautious. In the text, it says that he would just take a nibble. Good. It means that he preserves it. Please keep yourself muted, and is patient as he waits a whole year. Excellent. Very frugal. Yes, he is very frugal. And someone else said he's thrifty. He would make a 6-penny bar of birthday chocolate last for him more than a month. Excellent.
Don't have any answers.
Someone is not on mute. Please mute yourself. I'm going to read out a couple more messages. Charlie is grateful about having a chocolate bar. He's only able to buy it once a year. Good. Charlie is a person who doesn't waste things. He makes the chocolate last for him more than a month. Excellent. Has a lot of willpower. Yes. He has control over himself. He's very humble. Says he would allow himself to only look at it but never to touch it. Excellent. Ramin, here's a good one. The Charlie's family are very thoughtful. Yes, we can also infer that his family care about him. The family saved up their money for that special occasion. Excellent. Okay, great. All right, let's see if you had some of the similar points to what I had, which is what I've written on my next page. So this is how I've kind of structured my answers here. I started off by saying that Charlie is a restrained and patient child. And this is the text. The text states that he would allow himself only to look at it, but never to touch it. Now, what I've also done here, and this is what I want you to start practicing doing, is zooming in on the particular word that gives you the meaning. So the use of the word never shows that he's strict with himself and does not give in to the temptation of the chocolate very easily. Then the second one, I said that Charlie is loved by his family. I think some other people said that. The text states the whole family saved up their money for that special occasion. I've written Charlie's birthday is viewed as special by the rest of the family, who wanted to treat him by devoting all their spare money to give him a gift. So yes, you're right. And then I also mentioned that he was frugal. So that's exactly, you guys are all doing the exact right thing. You're putting the point that you can identify about Charlie, and then you've got the evidence there as well that proves the point that you are making. And I've highlighted a couple of bits as well there. So those are the main sort of things that I want us to practice today. We can deduce things by finding the specific piece of the text. We can speculate about them by kind of going beyond the text and figuring out what might be possible based on what we've read. And then we examine the text when we are writing about the text by quoting from it and analyzing what that quote shows us about a character. So we're going to do one more of those, one more of the Charlie in the Chocolate Factory style questions. This time I'm going to read it through and you've got one question to answer. So I want you to see if you can all answer this question in the chat, just like we just done with the Charlie one. Frugal means someone that, if you're frugal, it means that you only spend a little bit of money at a time, you make your money really last. So let's do one more of these questions together. I am now going to read another passage from the text. This is a passage when Mr. Willy Wonka from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory announces that he's going to do this competition at his factory. So when I read this through, there's your question there in the red. What can you infer about Willy Wonka as a person? So as I read, find a piece of evidence. See if you can perhaps highlight it in your brain or write it down. What does that particular piece of evidence show about Willy Wonka? Then, if you're able, zoom in on one word in that quote that you've chosen. What's the key word that you feel shows you clearly that that's something true about Willy Wonka? Okay, let's read it through and then we'll see what your answers turn out to be. So, evening bulletin. Mr. Willy Wonka, the confectionery genius whom nobody has seen for the last 10 years, sent out the following notice today. I, Willy Wonka, have decided to allow 5 children, just 5, mind you, and no more, to visit my factory this year. These lucky 5 will be shown around personally by me, and they will be allowed to see all the secrets and the magic of my factory. Then, at the end of the tour, as a special present, all of them will be given enough chocolates and sweets to last them for the rest of their lives. So watch out for the golden tickets. 5 golden tickets have been printed on golden paper, and these 5 golden tickets have been hidden underneath the ordinary wrapping paper of 5 ordinary bars of chocolate. These 5 chocolate bars may be anywhere, in any shop, in any street, in any town, in any country in the world, upon any counter where Wonka sweets are sold. And the 5 lucky finders of these 5 golden tickets are the only ones who will be allowed to visit my factory and see what it's like inside. Good luck to you all and happy hunting. Signed, Willy Wonka. So, have a think, choose your quotation, tell me what it shows us about Willy Wonka as a character, and write your answer down, trying to zoom in on a keyword if possible as well. Okay. I'm already got some messages going into the chat. Guys, try and structure them with PEE if you can. Make your point, then bring in your evidence, and then your explanation. I want to see some zooming in on a keyword. Let me go through some of these questions. Right, where does this begin? Okay, he's very thoughtful to give his sweets and chocolates away. Quirky and eccentric. He is niche. He is secretive and precise. Okay, you're all giving me great points, but I want the evidence as well. I want the piece of evidence that tells you that. Okay, Shuvik, he's very clever because it says that he's a confectionery genius. Yes, but what's the key word that you could zoom in on? I would zoom in on the word genius. I would say genius. What does the word genius mean? What does that tell us about him? Sharose, not too benevolent, as he says, just 5, mind you. That's a good point. He's generous, but not too generous. Shrishti has said he is solitary. No one has seen him for the last 10 years. Good. But I'll try and zoom in again. What is the key word there? I would say the key word would be no one. That shows us that he's mysterious. What else do we have? He's very eminent locally, as he is known as the confectionery genius. That's true. He's got a reputation about him. Krish, I infer Willy Wonka is a kind man because he's allowing people to come into his factory and give them enough chocolate to last for their lives. Yes, but I want a quote for that one, Krish. Anij, for the rest of their lives, he's persuasive as he used the rest. Yeah, it's almost a bit of a hyperbole, isn't it? It's very, very generous. It's like their whole of their lives. Christine, the amount of time Willy Wonka said 5 shows that this is a very rare chance to grab a surprise. Excellent. Yeah, so he's almost trying to tease them, isn't he? He's quite cheeky, perhaps, in how he knows people will want this. And Charla, Willy Wonka has an exciting personality. Yes. Please keep yourself muted. He gives excitement to children because there's a competition. Furthermore, he's a clever businessman because he's going to make the children buy lots of chocolates. That is a great point. Well done, Anchala. He's very wily, isn't he? He's like, this means you can buy all the chocolate that you can to try and get that golden ticket. Excellent spot. Grace, nobody has seen him for the last 10 years. 10 suggested he's very secretive and he's been gone for a long time. Excellent. Secrets and the magic of my factory also shows that he's very mysterious. Excellent. Anya saying he's very strict or precise, as he says, just 5, mind you, and no more. Yeah, very good. What else do we have? Guys, these answers are really good. I can see that the later ones in particular, you're all using great quotations, which is exactly what I want you to do. Hiteshri, sorry. Willy Wonka is very mysterious. He likes puzzles and quests, but is also generous, as he refers to the things inside his shop as secrets. Yeah, good. He wants people to be intrigued, doesn't he? Let's see. Okay, all right, Neve, this is a good answer. I think he's a bit cautious about who he meets. It says he hasn't been seen for the last 10 years. Maybe he's been preparing for something, or something has happened in the last 10 years and he doesn't want to be made fun of by the people. Yes, I mean, there's another word for that as well, reclusive. If you're a reclusive person, it means you prefer to avoid being in public. I'm just looking through. These are looking good. Very exact. Yes. Now, Gab, you're saying he's troglodytic. Why is he troglodytic? Hopeful, it says good luck, which shows that he's eager. Yes, you're right. He's persuasive, Stephanie. All of them will be given enough chocolates and sweets to last them the rest of their lives. You're right. Secluded, that's a good word. Yes, he's very secluded because he keeps himself to himself. He's very smart. They could bear so much chocolate by making him have lots of money. Okay, brilliant, guys. Really, really great answers. Sorry, I've read through loads of those because there were so many of them, but that is excellent. Okay, so these are some of the things that I also had. He's generous. He enjoys being mysterious and elusive. He enjoys creating a spectacle. You know, he wants people to kind of think it's something exciting to come to his factory. He's very rich. He's extravagant. He's proud of who he is. He enjoys attention. Okay. Brilliant, brilliant work on that one, everybody. Thank you for all of your answers. So make sure, just to recap, say something about the character. Bring in the quote from the text that shows you that. Then explain it by zooming in on one particular word that is the key word that can support your inference. Okay, I am going to quickly go through a few tips for answering some of these written questions. And then we're going to do 2 more questions and a few multiple choice ones as well. So we've still got a few things to get through today. Does anyone have any questions at this point? Please, in the chat, if you have any questions, let me know. I'll just pause quickly here. Just wait for a moment to see if anyone wants to ask anything. Yes, if you need to go to the toilet, just please go for it. That's fine. Just seeing if there's any other questions. What does elusive mean? Adam is saying, elusive means that you're mysterious. No one really knows who you are. Josias, why can't I see anyone else's chat? That's just because everyone can only send messages to me. So I can see loads and loads of messages, but everyone else can just see one. Yes, I'm going to send these slides straight over to you afterwards. Don't worry, you're going to have all of this to access. Got lots of messages saying, how long is this class? We're going round till 1 o'clock.
May you send them name?
Are there only 3 types of inference? Well, no, inference is one main skill. There's one main type of inference. Deduction, speculation, and examination are just like different skills we can practice to make sure that our inference is as quick and as simple as possible. If we can infer quickly, we know how to deduce, we know how to speculate.
Yes, what does elusive mean?
Yes.
Where's the teacher?
I'm right here.
Please be quiet.
Okay, I think those are all the questions that I've got so far in the chat for now. PEE, I referred to before. Please keep yourselves muted, guys, otherwise it's really distracting for everyone else. No one else should be talking but me.
I cannot hear her.
Where's the teacher?
Maybe she's just frozen, man.
She's frozen.
She's black.
Okay, let's crack on. So I'm going to now be talking a little bit about some advice for those longer written questions when you are inferring in an exam. Because of course, inference is a skill, right? You can have different types of questions that will require you to use inference. So you will have longer questions. You'll also have shorter ones and multiple choice questions if you're doing an exam that involves multiple choice questions. So here's some advice for those longer written questions that use inference. First of all, what is my number one piece of advice is to look at the amount of marks that are on offer. That is really important. If you have 2 marks, you probably need to say 2 brief things. If it's like, let's say 6 marks, you need to say roughly 3 things, each one supported by a quotation. So I suggest that you look at the marks on offer, and if it's an inference question, such as what do you know about this, or what can you infer about this, then it's asking you to find the piece of information that you know plus the evidence. So you're looking at the marks on offer. A PEE question should take up 2 marks. That should be worth 2 marks in an exam, because you're saying something plus you're showing how you know it. 2 marks each. Try and spend 1 minute per mark on your inference questions. You shouldn't be spending much longer than that. PEE, to recap: point, evidence, explain. This is a way of structuring your answers that you can use in your inference questions. So, as I said, number 3 on the bullet points there: offer the same amount of inferences as there are marks. Now, inference questions can vary. They can be different in the way that they are asked. So you might look for something like this. You might look for questions that are worded kind of like this. What do you learn about ... What do you know about ... Describe the character of, like we did with Willy Wonka and with Charlie, right? We're thinking about, okay, what do we learn from the text about them? What sort of character is ... What sort of person is ... And if you're looking for, if you get a question that says, how do you know? That is showing that this should be inference. Okay, you should be inferring from the text and showing the evidence that you can find. Just having a look at the chat there. There's a question here that says, what if it doesn't show the marks? It will definitely show the marks. I have never seen an exam that does not show the marks on offer, because they need you to know how many things you're expecting to say. The marks are there to guide you. So there will always be a mark on offer for you. And then finally, choose supporting quotations that are directly relevant to your answer. So you shouldn't be just saying random things and kind of supporting your quotations with your ideas with any old quote. It needs to be specific to the thing that you're saying. Find the quotation in the text that links most closely to what you are arguing. So I've had some questions here. How do you know when to use infer, which is, inference? This is the kind of thing that you can look at. What do you learn about? It's questions like these in the red. What do you learn about this character? What do you know about this character? And you can look for questions with how as well. How do you know this? I'm not going to be answering questions putting your hand up. Please put them in the chat for me. What sort of character is? These are the sorts of questions that require inference. But remember also that with inference, this is a skill that you need to be using all the time. It's not always going to be cut clear in the question. You need to use inference here. It's a skill that you need to be using all the time. You cannot ever really escape from inference. Just looking in the chat here. Okay, I'm going to come back and answer some questions in a minute because I still want to get through a couple of other things. Okay, so when we are writing our inference answers, we're going to be using phrases like these. This is the kind of thing that you want to use when you are answering an inference question. These are sort of your opening, I guess, phrases for your inference answers. So you might say things like this. This is shown through the phrase. This is a good one. I know this because the writer says ... This can be inferred because ... This is evident because. This is demonstrated by the phrase ... This is shown by the phrase ... So try and avoid just randomly writing the quote. Put in a little phrase like this to show you're introducing the evidence that you're going to be using. These are not filler phrases. These are phrases that introduce your quotation. Because you can, if you just write the quote, that's not a full sentence. You need to integrate it into your answer. You can use PEA, yes, point evidence analysis. That's another version. There are many versions of PEE. PEE is just the most common one. You may have a different version that you use. I think that was answering Aryaman's question there. Okay. All right, so I hope this is all making sense so far. I know there's lots of questions going up and it's trying to keep track of everything. So what we're going to do now is we're going to try and do a couple more questions so you can practice this. So remember, inference is something that you're basically doing all the time. It's when you are looking below the text to figure out what you can say that isn't directly being stated. It's something that we use this all the time. But when we're writing about it, we're focusing on questions that require evidence, questions that require us to find a quote from the text. That is essentially an inference question. Okay, so let's move on. We're going to try this question now. I'm sort of leveling up in the difficulty for this passage. The writing is hopefully going to be a little bit more challenging here. So for this question, I've actually put the word infer in the question as well. Can you please mute yourself? There is no reason why you should not be on mute. Please keep on mute at all times. Okay, all right. So this passage, it comes from a novel called Watership Down. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of Watership Down. But in this, yeah, got some thumbs up. In this question, you need to figure out what is the time of year. So the question is, from this passage, what can you infer about the time of year? Now, of course, I've put the word infer into the question, but it could be phrased in different ways. It could be phrased like, what time of year is it? And how do you know? I think a key phrase is, how do you know, right? How do you know? If a question asks you how you know that you're going to be needing to infer. You know that you are going to be required to bring in the evidence from the text. So let's read the passage and figure out what time of year it is. So I'll quickly read it through, at least I'll read the first little section. Here we go. The primroses were over. Towards the edge of the wood, where the ground became open and sloped to an old fence and a brambly ditch beyond, only a few fading patches of pale yellow still showed among the dog's mercury and the oak tree roots. On the other side of the fence, the upper part of the field was full of rabbit holes. In places, the grass was gone altogether, and everywhere there were clusters of dry droppings through which nothing but the ragwort would grow. I don't even need to read any more than that. There should already be the clues that you need to figure out what time of year it is. So I've given you a little hint, 2 clues. There should be 2 clues in the text. It should only take you a couple of minutes to answer this one because it's a 2-marker.
Resend it to the text.
Send it to the text, to the chat. Yes,
Yeah.
to the chat. Please keep yourself muted. Yes, so see if you can write your answer in the chat. What time of year is it? And I want your answer to be structured like this. The season is blank, or the time of year is blank. I know this because it says, and then bring in your evidence. It should be structured like you would write it in full sentences in the exam. Going to give everybody a moment. Aaron says, I threw this book away the moment I started reading it. It's not that bad. That is hilarious. Yes, you may have done this one before because this is commonly used, this passage. Let's see. Now, when I say time of year, I mean the time of the year in terms of the season. What is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I've got a few answers here. Alex is saying, I think it is winter, as the text states that the grass was gone altogether, and in the winter, the grass goes away. Okay, so you're inferring that from the description of nature. Anishka, I can infer that it's dry at this time of year because it says dry droppings, the season. So you're suggesting that it's summer? Got some different answers coming up here. I think the season is autumn because it says the primroses are over. Another answer here, I think it's the beginning of autumn because in the passage it says the grass was gone altogether and the primroses were over. So what you're doing here, guys, is you are giving me the evidence, but I want that explanation as well. I want the explanation. How do you know? What does that, the piece of evidence, you're choosing the right pieces of evidence, but why do they suggest that it is that particular season? Ojas, I think it's autumn because there was only a few faint patches of yellow and in places the grass was gone altogether. In autumn, all plants fall and most places are orange, red and yellow. That's a good answer. Season is probably autumn as it says the primroses were over and in places the grass was gone altogether. You're all giving the same piece of evidence, which is great. The fact that the grass is fading into the yellows, only a little bit of yellow left, primroses are over. I think it's autumn. This is because when the text states that the primroses were over and dry droppings, suggests it's autumn when everything typically turns dry. I think the main piece of evidence that we're sort of mistaking here is the dry droppings part. That just means that the droppings are there and they have they've been there for a while, so they're not like fresh. So that's not necessarily to do with actual dryness in the air. Just having a look at a few other answers. The primroses usually grow in spring, but when it's autumn, the leaves and the flowers droop. Good. In this text, the time of year is autumn because the primroses were over. I'm missing one out. So the main pieces of evidence that you guys need to focus on, which I think most of you are doing, is that the grass was gone, the primroses is gone, and then the yellow patches, there's only a few patches of yellow remaining. Those are the pieces of evidence that I wanted you to pick out from the text. It's awesome because they say the grass is fading, the primroses are fading. This is what happens in autumn. Okay, great. So well done. I think you're all making really good points here. You're all inferring from the text the time of year. Now, what I've done in my answer, I've been very crafty. Let me show you what my answer is. I said it's the end of spring or summer. I have not been too specific. I've actually said it's the end of spring, and then I've given my explanation. The flowers are fading. The writer states the primroses were over and only a few fading patches of pale yellow still showed, which is what you have all basically said. This shows that the nature of the flowering season is changing and the spring flowers are dying. Now, primroses, I'm not expecting you to know when primroses come out, but primroses are a spring flower and they typically fade around May. So it is turning into summer, but the autumn answer is still, there's still evidence for that. You're still inferring that the season has changed, the season is moving on, the plants are dying. So you're all correct. You're all being able to identify and infer that means that there's a new season coming. Just having a look at your last few texts here. Okay, all right, I think we're doing pretty well. Let's do one final question. I think we're going to have time just for one more today because I've only got until 1 o'clock before I have to pass over to question and answer. So let's do one more question. This is another one from the same boring book that everyone hates, clearly, but I'm going to do one more passage. So this one is about a particular character. So this is a 4-marker. So you need to try and find 4 clues. It says this: from the passage, what can you infer about the rabbit's personality? Okay, so let me just read it through, and then we will decide what he is like. See what you can infer about him. Okay, here we go. The first rabbit stopped in a sunny patch and scratched his ear with rapid movements of his hind leg. Although he was a yearling and still below full weight, he had not the harassed look of most outskirters. That is the rank and file of ordinary rabbits in their first year, who, lacking either aristocratic parentage or unusual size or strength, get sat on by their elders and live as best they can, often in the open, on the edge of the warren. He looked as though he knew how to take care of himself. There was a shrewd, buoyant air about him as he sat up, looked around, and rubbed both front paws over his nose. As soon as he was satisfied that all was well, he laid back his ears and set to work on the grass. Okay, so we're looking in the text. What does this rabbit do? How's he described? How does he behave? What can you infer about his personality from the way that he acts? So I know we don't have loads of time, but see if you can perhaps just go quote by quote, find a quote that you think is important about what this rabbit's character is like, and then explain to me in your PEE format. Point, the rabbit is this. Quote, I know this because it says. Explain, this shows that he is so-and-so, and explain why you chose that quote. So I'm going to give everyone a minute or so to do that.
Excuse me, whenever I need to type anything, it says that Louise 11 plus is not in this meeting.
I think there's someone else that may have named themselves Lois. You should be able to. I am on there.
No, wait. If I just send you hi, it won't send me.
Go to same. Just reset it, maybe.
Yeah, same.
I know how to fix it.
I'm getting messages from lots of people, so I think it is working for.
Go to Preeti and then go back to Lewis. Try it. It actually worked.
Because I had to, because last time when I was typing anything, I needed to send it Preeti, not to you, because it was saying that Louise 11 plus is not in this meeting.
Oh, well, I am here, so I don't know why it's not doing that. That's very strange.
Someone else named your name.
And I can't.
Yeah, someone.
I honestly, I don't know. I don't know why that's.
Someone's called Lewis.
Preeti or Lois. Yeah, that's what I did.
Let me rename myself.
Send to the co-host, not the host.
Right, I've changed it to tutor.
The co-host.
Try just searching tutor.
Okay.
Go
Wait,
to the host and then maybe go to the co-host.
But if I wait, Louise, if I just send you like my name, let me see if it comes up or if you could see it.
Okay.
Can you see my name?
What is your name?
Samriddhi.
Yes, I can see it. I can see it.
Okay, for now it's working.
Okay, brilliant.
Okay.
Okay, let's put everyone else on mute again, if you wouldn't mind. I'm just gonna everybody mute yourselves, if you wouldn't mind. And I will start looking.
I think you spelled tutor wrong.
I have not spelled tutor wrong. Okay, I'm going to look through some of the messages because I'm running out of time here. Okay, let's see. All right, so let's see. He's independent because it says he knows how to take care of himself. Yes, excellent. I can infer that the rabbit is arrogant. Interesting. I think that you can definitely infer that, though. The text refers to how he can take care of himself. He doesn't need his elders. Yes, good point. Here's another one. The rabbit is very astute and perceptive, but also hardworking. I know this. There's a baby crying. Hope the baby's okay. Let's have a look at some other ones. He's young and little, but he takes care of himself. Yes, good. It says that he's a yearling and still below full weight. This shows that he's light. Excellent. So yes, he can take care of himself, but he is also small. Excellent. I think the rabbit is calm because he has not the look of the most outskirters. Yes, good. He looks different. He's not so stressed out as the others. And he's below the usual weight because it says still below full weight. Yes, so he's not quite perhaps grown up yet or matured. He's maturing. It says that he knew how to look after himself. He's cautious, yes, because he looks around until he was satisfied that all was well. Excellent. I think that the rabbit was quite confident because he did not own the harassed look of most of the outskirters. This is an interesting point, Anchala. The rabbit might also be vain and arrogant because he thought he was better than the others. Interesting. Yeah, he definitely stands out from the rest. Anna, I infer that he's clever as he has a shrewd, buoyant air. This shows that he is smart. Good. The rabbit is cautious because he stopped in a sunny patch and scratched. Yes, maybe to see better, perhaps. Or maybe he just enjoys the sun as well. Tells us the rabbit is cautious. He's different from the other rabbits. He doesn't have a harassed look. Yes. Let's see what else we have. Still very young. Yes. He's young because he says he's a yearling. He's still below full weight. He's hungry. He's set to work on the grass, which means he's eating. Yes. But I don't think hungry isn't necessarily to do with his character, his personality. I think it's more just how he's feeling in that moment. He's self-dependent. Good. He's pretending to act maturely and sensibly. Let's have a look. What else we have? Resilient. The rabbit is not lazy, as the rabbit scratched behind his ear with rapid movements and began to work in the field. Yes. Lots of similar answers here, which is great. You're all saying that he's independent and he's serious, taking care of himself. He's clever, he's alert, excellent, mature, independent, confident, but cautious. Brilliant. So yeah, you're all doing a good job here. The main thing to continue practicing is getting that quotation, that specific quotation that you need that supports your idea. And remember, as I said before, trying to zoom in on a keyword that kind of proves that quote. So I'll give you some of the things that I would have perhaps said. Here's my example answer. So this is what I said. I said, the rabbit has a relaxed and easygoing personality as he enjoys the sunny weather and does not look harassed like the other rabbits. Can you see that I'm only using one word at a time here? We don't often need a whole long quote. He's young. He's described as still below full weight. But he's also independent, as the text says that he has a shrewd, buoyant air and knew how to take care of himself. Things that you guys are all saying. Therefore, we can infer that he's confident and clever. And yeah, you've all used those two words. He's aware of his surroundings. He's intelligent for his age. He's also protective over his surroundings and the other rabbits. I don't know if I saw protective. I definitely saw cautious, as he makes sure to check that all was well. So I think most of you actually had all of those answers, probably. The main thing is, obviously, this is worth 4 marks, so you would need to say 4 things. So we're saying that he's easygoing, young, independent, and he's also protective. I mean, I've probably said more than 4 things there. But there we go. So there you are. There is a sort of example answer of how you can use your inference skills really, really effectively, backing up as much as possible with evidence. So I'm aware of the time and I'm going to have to move on to the Q&A section now, but I'm going to send you over these notes. So there's a few other questions at the end of the passage. If you would like to practice some of those yourself, please do. And I will leave it there. So if there's any other desperate questions, please let me know. But I'm going to at this point, we're going to move over to parents Q&A. So I will move on to that now. But thank you, everybody. Thank you very much for attending.
Good day to you.
Miss, should we leave now? Should we leave now?
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye. Right. I think the most people that have left that wanted to leave have left. I am staying online. If there are going to be people that are going to have parents with questions, I am going to be here for that.
Bye.
Miss, how do we
Hi,
leave?
Louise. Yeah,
How
thank
do
you
we
very
leave-
Bye,
much
Preeti.
for the class.
No problem.
Miss,
Great.
how
So
do we
it's a
leave?
time for students and the parents' questions. So by all means, all the parents can drop their questions on our Zoom chat,
Miss, how do
and we will
leave?
start answering these questions one by one.
Bye.
How do we leave
Goodbye,
the class?
thank you.
Because I don't have the leave option.
There should be a button saying leave.
I can't see the option.
All the parents can drop their questions on our Zoom chat, and we will start taking those questions one by one.
I think I've had a question here from a parent. I think because some of these are coming through directly to me. But Preeti, you might
can
be able
read
to
it,
advise
Louise.
this. You
Yeah,
might be able to
sure.
advise this more than me, actually. The question is, how many school exams can we write?
How many school exams? Sorry, what's the ending you
As in
said?
how many? Like, is there a limit on how many exams you can take?
Oh, no, not really. You can take as many as exams as you want. Only thing is you need to make sure that what are the schools located in your catchment area. So understand the geographical location where you live, and also check the admissions criteria and the catchment criteria which is provided on the school website. And based on that, you can decide what schools are suitable and for what schools you are eligible in, and then you can appear for the exam. But honestly speaking, there is no cap or the limits on taking the number of exams. I think that's answered. Louise, have you got any other question?
Yes, I've got a few here. Another question is saying, how do you suggest for children to expand? For example, my son hadn't heard rude in the text. So shall I answer this one?
Yes, please. Yeah, go on. Yeah.
So yes, this is a very common question that we get, and I always give sort of similar advice. First of all, there's a lot of value in doing a lot of reading, and particularly of these more challenging texts. So this is a text that was written sort of, I can't remember the exact date actually, but these are sort of early 20th century and a little bit before that is the best passage or sort of time to read from that particular period, because the language is really challenging. And so I would suggest reading some of those more challenging texts, gathering your vocabulary in like a little vocabulary book or something like that, where you keep track of all the new words, testing the new words as much as possible, you know, maybe weekly, building that up. I also have had some students who've had good success with sort of doing a word of the week type thing at home, where they come up with a word and, you know, they write it down and display it at home. And so they're changing and learning their new vocabulary week. That can be a good way to also expand. And then also, we also do have plenty of practice sort of resources as well for groups of vocabulary by topic. So those kind of resources can be useful too.
Great, Louise. Thank you so much. I can't able to see the questions coming to me. So I think, Louise, you need to read all those questions.
Yeah, they're all coming through here. Okay, I'll read the next one. Hello, do you have a complete comprehension course in view?
Yes, I think we do have. Vishal, if you can share my website, pyacademy.co.uk, and then on 11 plus courses, you can see that we have listed lots of courses. I will open that page for you. So under 11 plus courses on the menu, you can see there is a dedicated page for 11 plus exam term time courses. And the way we run our masterclass, we do have other courses listed here. And very soon we are going to launch our Easter courses. Maybe in a couple of days, you will see the new courses coming up for the Easter holidays. And as a part of that, I can also walk you through very quickly. In the half term, we do have like 11 plus creative writing half term course, which has been sold out because the half term is over. but this will be replaced with the Easter courses. And as you can see here, the course timeline is there. And if you look at the contents of the course, because that was your question, it covers the entire creative writing course, which includes the lot of skills, including the descriptive writing, persuasive writing, narrative, and expository writing. We are relaunching this course again in Easter holidays, so you can definitely take an advantage, enroll your child in the Easter holidays.
Okay. My next question. From which exam were these sample questions taken? 11 plus private schools or private schools? And I think there's another question related to this. They're asking, my understanding is some of the 11 plus exams are multiple choice, so we wouldn't expect questions like these sort of longer written questions from the slides.
Yeah, so Louis, yeah, it's partly the question is correct because there are two types of exam styles in 11 plus English exam. One, which is the descriptive style of writing the answers, like more open-ended kind of answers, and the other one is a multiple choice. So what normally happens in the first round, usually the paper is multiple choice or MCQ paper. And if the child passed the first round of the exam, there is a second round of the examination where the questions are pretty open-ended. That applies to both maths as well as English. In English, the child has to write the full answers based on the number of the marks and show the evidences. Luis will explain more about English. But when it comes to the maths also, there is open-ended answers where the child has to write all the steps which are required to solve that questions. So, Luis, I will pass on to you to explain a bit more about the open-ended questions and answers style of the exam in the second round of the grammar school exam.
Yes.
Or also in the private schools as well. The papers are quite open-ended.
Yeah, they are.
Papers. Yeah.
They are, and that's often, I would say, the more challenging style of question. I would say that the skill itself, the actual inference skill is the same, which is kind of why we focus more on those longer questions. Because for multiple choice, you are still using that same skill. You're still finding the clues in the text that can help you to find the answer. But yeah, for open-ended questions, you really need to be writing quite a lot of detail. That's why we encourage using the PEE structure. So that you are going to be looking at the amount of marks on offer and you know how much you should be writing. They usually give quite broad questions, what do you learn about this character, or what do you think this character is thinking, or what's the atmosphere in this passage, or those kind of quite broad questions. So those are the ones which are going to require a lot of detailed writing, using the evidence from the text as much as possible, because that's where students often fail, is by not including the text. They just kind of write a general idea, but they need to be using the evidence from the text, which is why we're getting them practicing it now.
Great, thank you so much. I think so, yeah. So there is one more question coming here. Now I can see the chats. Where can I get provided lecture notes PDF of this masterclass and previous creative lesson notes? Yeah, I will quickly walk you through where you can find everything. So what you need to do is come on the piacademy.co.uk website. On the right-hand corner, you need to log in through your account, like a member's login. As soon as you log in, you will see all the courses in your dashboard. So once here, you need to click on this little man's icon, and then you can log in like this, and then you can see all the courses which you have registered with. Click on those courses, and then under the tuition column, you will see all the courses which you have registered. Click on that, and then you follow the flow on the website. You will get the lecture notes. And not only the lecture note, but we are also putting all our recordings on our YouTube channel. So you see here are the lecture notes available. List 1, Comprehension Masterclass. At the bottom, you will see the lecture notes. So step 1 is to log into your dashboard. Once you log into your dashboard, under the tuition section, you will see your registered class. Click on that and you will get the lecture notes right in the dashboard. Also, the recordings of the lessons, we are sharing it on our YouTube channel. I will quickly show you where is our YouTube channel and how you can access the recordings. So here you go. Here all the recordings will be present under the playlist and you can watch all those recordings. Hope that helps. So lecture notes and the video recordings are available. Video recordings on the YouTube, lecture notes in your dashboard. Okay, we are giving you the YouTube channel link. Please visit our YouTube channel. You will see lots of recordings of our previous classes, which you can take the advantage of. I don't see. Oh yeah, there is one more question. How much practice do we have to do? The answer is huge. Always remember, you are practicing the papers with the right difficulty level at right point of time of the year. So say, for example, we are in the month of March, so we expect you to practice medium level of papers and medium level of questions, because still there are a couple of months to build the difficulty level. I can show you very quickly on our 11 plus, under the exam papers, on 11 plus papers, you will see we have like lot of subscriptions. I will open one for you, which is 11 plus maths past papers, because many children, they struggle with the higher difficulty level of questions. My strong suggestion is to practice the low and medium difficulty in this month and then start with high difficulty questions in the month of April. So you can see on our webpage, we have a very clear planner. You can download this planner and you can start practicing the paper which are described in the planner. So don't use your own methods to practice the paper. I would strongly recommend you to follow our planner, because this planner is built through our more than 10-12 years of experience. And you will see in this planner, we are providing you with a week-wise schedule, the paper number, the paper name, and also the difficulty level. So start practicing with the low and medium difficulty paper. And then in next month, start with the harder paper. So this is pretty much applied to everything which is available under exam papers, under 11 plus papers. So keep doing and keep practicing it as much as you can, and with a variety of papers. So don't restrict yourself that you must, some parents, they think that my child is applying only for the grammar schools and why do I need to practice the private school papers? That's conceptually very wrong understanding of the parents, because at the end of the day, in independence, whether it is an independent school or whether it is a grammar school, 11 plus exam syllabus is going to be exactly the same. And hence we suggest the strong practice or variety of practice through lots of different resources. I hope I have answered that question. Okay, so there is, yeah, go on, Louise.
Can I read one more question here? Where's it gone? There was a question about the Easter courses. When will the Easter courses be available?
Very shortly, within a day or two. Vishal, why don't you put a link to our courses page directly? In fact, we might launch it in next 24 hours. So you can definitely come and subscribe to our Easter courses. Remember one thing, as soon as you get the email, if you are our registered member, please try to subscribe it as soon as possible, because Easter is the busiest month. So, we might keep the courses for a short while. So take an advantage to subscribe it as soon as possible. Luis, can I read the next question? I have it here. But do you get open-ended questions in GL exam? No, the answer is no. GL exam is completely only for the multiple choice questions. My daughter preparing for Kendrick and the reading. I think I have answered this question. Here, I would like to give one more point, Luis. Even though the style of the exam is multiple choice, my strong recommendation to the parents is they should not restrict their child only to answer the multiple choice questions. They must practice the open-ended questions as well. Because remember one thing, the multiple choice question is just the format of the question. If the child is lacking the vocabulary, if the child is not following the field techniques, then even answering the multiple choice question would be very tricky. So don't be in misunderstanding type of zone that my child is only appearing for the GL exam and I should be only practicing the multiple choice. That's not correct. You should practice the open-ended question answers as well, because that will help your child to build the stronger vocabulary, because that is applicable for MCQ questions as well. Is that correct, Luis?
Yeah, I totally agree, 100%.
Okay.
I have
okay, carry on, Luis. You take that question.
I've got I'll say these as two quick questions. We can sort of combine them. One is could you share a bit more about the reading club? And then there's another question about whether the papers on the website are actual papers or if they've been created by us. So those are two questions.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I'll take that question. So let's do first with the reading club. I will show you on the website what is this reading club all about. So under the 11 plus courses, you will see there is a reading club. And as I just now explained, like in the GL style of questions, or any comprehension, any comprehension, the child must have the vocabulary. And the best way to develop the vocabulary is through the reading club. So you can see we run this reading club twice in a week. It's a 45-minute session and children absolutely enjoy this session because we run through a lot of activities in this club. We are sending you the link, what we do exactly in this reading club. You can have a look through. And just very broadly, I would say our 11 plus reading club focuses on extensive reading from various genres. And then building excellent vocabulary and enhancing the critical and the creative thinking. So have a look on this page. Once you like it, you can book it through our website. The second question was about what was the second question, Luis?
It was whether the papers, I'm not sure if it was referring to in the thing or if it was online, whether or not they're real papers or if they are like...
Okay, I'll explain that as well. So if you look on our website under exam papers, under 11 plus papers, I will give you one example with the maths, or let's open English, Vishal. Let's open English, 11 plus English past papers. And these are the papers which we have clearly stated that these papers are from the private schools. None of the paper is created by Pi Academy. These are all past papers or they are sample papers. So the reason we put these papers on our website, because we want to give the exact exam feel of the questions to our parents and the students. What we are doing is writing the extensive answers for every paper. I will open one answer for you, so you will get an idea how these papers will help your child. So if you have a look at the paper, which is, say, for example, City of London Schools for Girls paper, we are solving this entire paper, but we are not just giving the model answers, but we are also giving you the hints. And the hints will help your child to have a critical thinking. So if the child gets the wrong answers, don't worry. Don't show the model answers directly. Always remember to show the hints to the child first and then the answer. And the beauty of this is we are documenting here on our website the line number or the reference where this answer belongs to. Say, for example, this particular answer belongs to line number 2 and 4, and what is the type of question is very, very important. So to answer your question, that these papers, they are from the school papers and not our papers. We are writing very detailed answer. That's where exactly the parents need the help with. Liz, I have here one question. Can I take it? What level do you need to be at for 11 plus? For example, year 6 or year 7? And is it different for English and maths? Basically, the level is not different for subjects, but I would say, yeah, year 6 to year 7 type of level your child should have, because 11 plus exam is not an ordinary exam like national curriculum, covering the national curriculum. And hence, we strongly recommend year 6 or year 7, or perhaps maybe the more level of the year is necessary for this exam. Will Luis teach the Easter course? I think so, Louis. But we do have a lot of other tutors as well, like Louis. I don't know exactly whether Louis will teach, but you can rest assured with the quality we deliver. So I think that I have answered the question. How to improve the vocabulary for exam? Louis, would you like to take this question?
Yes, I mean, I sort of said a similar thing earlier, and yeah, I'll just restate. Lots of different activities you can do. Word of the week, word of the day, even. You could do vocabulary books. You can do mind maps, starting with a basic word in the middle and just, going out with all the words that relate, all the synonyms of that word, practicing synonyms, practicing antonyms, and display these. Display them around your house, in their bedroom, by the front door, get the vocabulary all around them, get them reading stuff that is challenging. You don't have to read it, loads and loads of it, but read bits of it and then break it down and try and use figure out what are the challenging words and see if you can practice using context to understand that word, even if they don't know it. So there's a lot you can do, but it does take time. It's not something that's going to be like that. You just got to put these small efforts in day by day and it will improve.
So yeah, this is a common question asked by many parents, like how they can improve their child's vocabulary. And we do have a subscription on our website, which is devoted for the vocabulary. You can see here 11 plus vocabulary subscription, and you can take this subscription. It's really awesome subscription. This is developed by Louis only. So you can see there are lots of different types of vocabulary things we have covered on this web page. We are going to send you the link. You can subscribe to this. So there are clauses, there are animal, plants, and food vocabulary, and then there are the senses vocabulary. This can be used in comprehension as well as in creative writing. So I think I have finished everything. There is last question. Can you explain how you subscribe for the past paper? For example, if you want the papers for the specific schools, you need to subscribe the entire subscription. There is no particular way, to subscribe only for typical papers, because if you look at the value of this subscription is really, really less, and you will get all those 150 papers. You can just click on subscribe now. You can add maths and English both subscription. That will waive off £10. And you can make a full utilization of these two subscriptions. I think I have finished all the questions. We are sending you the link here on the chat with the WhatsApp group. We have a dedicated WhatsApp group. You all can join our WhatsApp group if you haven't done so. And we are looking forward to see you again in our next masterclass. Please keep checking our website and you will see lots of free classes, paid classes, history courses, everything is on our website. Thank you very much. Hope your kids got benefit from this class. Thank you, Louis. Thank you, everybody, and have a lovely evening. Thank you. Bye.